I admire Carmen Electra, and I want my body to be more like hers.
I can really only put in about an hour and a half of exercise a day.
And obviously I can't have larger breasts by working out, so
It's a lot easier for me to just have plastic surgery.
right now I don't know if it was worth it because my breasts are
There you have it. It seems like a lot of people are in pursuit of Hollywood perfection, but what message is it sending to young men and women? Well, this morning we wanted to talk about this craze with plastic surgery and what's going on. Thomas Jeneby is here. He's a cosmetic surgeon, a board-certified cosmetic surgeon. Alongside him is Rita Varios. She's a TV personality, celebrity makeup artist Starley Murray, and Caitlin Munoz, a high school student, a high school senior, who's here to just talk about, you know, kind of some of the trends we see. We wanted to get a panelist of people with varying backgrounds. Aren't you guys excited to talk about this? I am. I'm excited about this. Dr. Jeneby, I want to begin with you. And I guess one of the latest things we've heard a lot about, you guys, right, has been Heidi Montag, right? And before we talk in depth with you, let's listen to what Heidi Montag had to say about the 10 different procedures she got done. Listen to this.
So you're telling me that a triple D isn't enough?
Well, see, it doesn't look very big, you know, in real life.
Big is
it
in the
doesn't
eye of the
look very
beholder,
big.
Heidi.
That's true. That's very true, too.
So Heidi said she wanted to, she went from the double D, she wants to get H for Heidi is what she said. So I don't know if she's typical, Dr. Jeneby. Let's talk a little bit about some of the trends you're seeing here locally in your practice.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. This is a great panel.
This
It's
is
fairly
great.
timely.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, Texas and California get these kind of larger requests more than the rest of the country.
Well, why do you think that is, Dr. Jeneby?
It's a
don't know.
geographic. It's a geographic thing. You know, everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, women in the South like to look good. That's a nice way to put it.
I think in Texas in particular.
Yes. Go ahead, Rita.
I was going to say more, the bigger thing I think is more evident in Texas because that's part of what Texas is all about.
Yes.
And in California, it's that, as you introduce it, it's that whole pursuit of perfection.
Yes.
Because California is more about that,
Right.
I think.
And I got to ask you, Rita, you've done a lot of television work
Yes.
and, you know, in a very public business, and you've also, you know, won a beauty pageant. And so I would imagine,
Many years
especially
ago.
in that arena,
Yes.
girls want to put their best selves forward, you know?
Well,
That's
in
the best way.
particular, I think in my case, I come from this beauty pageant that is so demanding, known worldwide, the Miss Venezuela pageant. And when I participated, I remember the demands that were put on us were extremely big to reach that perfection. In that case, in defense of the Miss Venezuela pageant, the idea of plastic surgery was presented to us, but it was in an idea to get more of a proportionate image for the body type that you had, not this extreme that you're seeing and you're hearing
now
from Heidi Montag.
Right. Now, and Starley, you work not only locally, but around the region. You do red carpets in Hollywood. You are up close. You've done my face. You've been up close. So you can tell when people have had work done. How common is it for you to run across people who are willing to talk about it? You know, it doesn't seem to be something people are necessarily ashamed about anymore.
Right, right. Well, you can't always tell when they've had it done, and that would actually be some of the more subtle cases that, you know, maybe people would, you might say that. But I will tell you that, you know, working with the people in front of the camera, you know, they tend to feel a little bit more pressure, and they don't realize that a lot of times that people are emulating them, and they're role models to them, and many times that's not their intention. They're just trying to make a living within their particular profession. But, you know, I would say that it's just good to know that there's alternatives, and there's so many things that you want to try out first before you know, taking that step. And the great thing about the alternatives is that they are not permanent, and so you might have a better idea if this really is something for you, especially if you're a very young person.
Absolutely. Whose face and body is still changing. And in television, high definition is not always your friend.
It's not very forgiving.
Yes, you want to be as friendly as you can. Caitlin is here. Caitlin, thank you for being here. She's a senior in high school, and we wanted to hear from you because, you know, we wonder how far this reaches the younger set, especially when Heidi Montag's, what, 19, 20 years old. Are people talking about her and what she's done, and what's been what have you been hearing?
I've heard a lot of stuff about her. I mean, I saw it in the magazines, and you see it on TV talking about all the surgeries that she's gotten. And I think that, you know, is telling teenagers, like, you know, it's not a big deal if you want to get plastic surgery. If you're insecure, you know, it's okay to go ahead and do that. But I don't think they think about the consequences or what happens after that.
And you touched on an interesting thing that I wanted to mention, which I've had this conversation with Dr. Jeneby, is you know, the age of a lot of the patients that come in. One of the things, Dr. Jeneby, you stress is that you take patients through the psychological, the why are you doing this, what is this for, and to prepare them mentally to see if it's even right for them, yes?
Yeah, I typically turn down anywhere between 15 to 37% of anybody that walks in.
What do you hear from girls that are still in the teenage years? What do they want to have done?
Well, they come in with their parents.
Which is interesting, right?
Yeah, and the parents seem to be more obsessed with it than the child sometimes.
That's really
So then I have to separate that. And then when you separate that, you start to get better answers.
Yes, because I'd heard that in recent years it had become popular if you were 16 or 17 to get something done for your birthday. And you guys have seen this Sweet 16 on MTV or what, and some of the young people are doing this.
And I mean, no matter how many, perfect moment to talk about this, you see Heidi Montag, you know, people that go into it, and I think Dr. Jeneby would agree, 10 surgeries or even any amount of multiple surgeries, that indicates an underlying problem going on there that I don't care how many amount of superficial surgeries you're going to get is never going to fix.
Yeah.
That you really do have to go into searching, and I do coach girls for beauty pageants and work that self-esteem. I think that self-esteem, and I'm sorry it sounds so corny, but is the best plastic surgery that you can give to yourself.
Let's look at some pictures we have of some celebrities we have seen transform before our eyes. Madonna has been one who, Madonna of course already a beautiful woman. Over the years, you know, as she's gotten older, we've seen, can you look at her right off, Dr. Jeneby, and say, yes, she's probably had this particular thing done? There was speculation that she might have had cheek implants. And is she the right age for something like that? I mean, once you get to a certain age, is it okay to kind of take liberties to do what you need to do at that age?
You know, she's had a lot of things done, and I think it's very hard to tell in a 2D. I always tell people to come in, but I can tell you that the surgeries that she's had done is she's had a lot of status, so she can get anybody to do anything on her.
Well, she got A-Rod, so maybe something was working.
She
did, right?
Now she's her little boy toy, which might be another pressure. She's with that guy who's, like, I think less than half her age.
Rita's bringing the dish. Okay, let's also talk about this. It's not just a trend with women. We also see a trend with men. You guys are familiar with Bruce Jenner. Okay, here on the left, and Mickey Rourke. Now, these are both men who, in their case, have had some reconstructive work done. That's a different kind of surgery, Dr. Jeneby, yes? It's not necessarily strictly cosmetic.
Mickey Rourke on the right has been boxing, and he's gotten a lot of bleeding under his skin, so that looks like a facelift.
Something like that.
And Bruce Jenner, you know, I always say this, you can never buy a piece of property that makes you feel as good as you can feel if you try to enhance yourself in a normal proper
natural way.
However, if you need it and you're a good physical and psychological candidate, there's no reason not to do plastic surgery.
And then, of course, the queen, Joan Rivers, who's been very public about all the work that she's had done. Kaylin, I've got to ask you, do you, obviously without, talking specifically about, giving names, do you know girls who have had things done or are in pursuit of getting things done?
I mean, I've heard my friends before talk about their friends, like, oh, they want to fix their nose because they think it's too big or something, and I just think that's kind of crazy. Like, if you're insecure about it now, like the Heidi Montag thing, like now everybody's talking about her having the 10 surgeries. Like, regardless what you do, I think you're still going to be in the wrong.
And we all know, being in television, there's a lot of things you can do with your face cosmetically, with makeup. Yes, Darlene, you don't have to go and do the extreme thing. We thank you guys all for being here. You guys have seen... the show on Dr. Ray 90210. I want to produce the show Thomas Jeneby 78209. You guys think that'll be a great show? Thank you guys to our panelists.